The cameras working, mate?
I think that's how it works. I don't know. 1, 2, check.
Okay, you've been out of practice, mate. Are we all good or what? Are we rolling? Oh, there we are. Look, we're already 8 seconds in. Wow.
Thanks for paying attention.
Good luck to you, mate. You got your shifty record button.
Thanks for bringing the green
there.
screen in with us.
Oh, well, I thought, it gave us so much fun last time. You're not going to do nothing to me this time,
I'm not going to do a thing.
All right.
Everyone relax.
It was funny last time. It wouldn't be funny a second time.
No, if I had the time and effort, I would pre-plan something specific, but
no, not this time, mate. We're here to talk tech, mate. Is that why people tune in, or do they like this?
Sure.
Do they like this gibber at the start? That's what the feedback I get when people hear the show. They go, "I love your gibber at the start." They love the chat. And I'm thinking, did you actually listen to the tech part or not? And I think they do.
There was a lot of people, by the way. I don't have my login correct, but remember we asked people to.
To see where they watched
when they
started
where
watching.
they'd listened or when they'd started watching, wasn't it?
Yes.
Because that was on a show a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Oh, you read the comments, do you? You read the comments.
I did have a look at some.
Okay.
Well done, fellas. I made it to the end and I'm special. Audio. I have no idea how long I've been listening. Good on you, Glenn. I know that's Glenn. No clue on the date or year. But when your tech life ended, I started listening to Two Blokes Talking Tech. So that's
it's around a
long time ago.
Did you run Your Tech Life and Two Blokes at the same time?
No, yeah.
You did
for a while. I just renamed Your Tech Life to EFTM.
EFTM, that's right, mate. Yeah, it's like,
don't recall when. Long time. Says Cartha. 2013 January audio episode 100. I left Oz in October 2016 and been still listening every week.
Wow!
Shout out to RK085.
Good luck to you,
Rob Rosier. Don't know what month, but 2013, and obviously audio. Great show.
Yep.
There's a fair few. Two Blokes Talking Tech, 2018 February audio. Tech Guide 2016 June audio. EFTM 2019 question mark audio.
He said Tech Guide as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
The best movies you've never seen 2021 October audio. The Social Network.
Which is when it started. 2021.
No, he said the first movie was Social Network
that he watched.
Yep.
Mate, there's 8 episodes before that, mate. Get in our back catalogue.
Do you really know that's the 9th episode?
Pretty sure it's up there.
I need to test
It's about that. It's about it'd be
I don't have the
top
spreadsheet
10.
open
It'd be
anymore.
top 10. Yeah.
Mick, 2016 audio and loving YouTube, also for early private feed access. Yes, what's exclusive?
Early private. So there you go. They're catching on. Early private
Daryl,
feed.
2011 February audio, now video, no shrinkage for the Two Blokes. Now more than double in length. It is. It is true. It's quite.
Yeah, well, we used to be like 35 minutes, 40 minutes,
and
then now we're over an hour.
Electric vehicle show is going that way, isn't it? It used to be 30 minutes, and it's
growing.
pushing.
Yeah, it's growing. It's expanding.
Yeah.
Like my waistline.
If you haven't watched, Tom Segura's Bad Thoughts, it's like it's like the drink at the gym.
I haven't watched that yet. I'm going to watch it.
Do not watch it with Joe.
Really?
Do not.
Why, mate? She watches Game of Thrones with me, mate. You reckon it'd be worse than that? You know, decapitations and nudity and all that sort of stuff.
It's less about the way it's portrayed. It's
about what it is.
No,
so you mean to say it's sexual or something, or
the things we talk about when we're not recording.
Sure. Okay.
It's those kind of bad thoughts.
All right.
Okay.
Right. Maybe we should have done this show instead of him.
Probably should have.
Yeah.
Still so many more to go. Used to be in a clan for Team Fortress. Yeah. I've been listening since at least 2016 per Pocketcast join date. 2015 for RIP Uzi, who's
happy 10th anniversary.
Pretty sure that person won one of the prizes.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and did an ROK. The other guy won RKO. I think was another winner.
GPP 2024, who, by the way, is a regular commenter, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Love watching you on YouTube, blokes. We are out there. Not sure how the metrics report it. Well, they do their best. Joey Johns, it was not clearly Joey Johns, but anyway.
Johns.
I made it to the end.
Fan?
2024 11A. So that's really only recent and on the audio version. So good on you. Scott, 2023 audio. Steve Allen, 2015 January audio.
Mate, that's not too. 2015, that's good. That's
Robert Pitt, 2014 June audio.
Great year, 2014.
Oh, Rabbitohs won the
South
premiership.
won the
I'm
year,
thinking,
mate.
why would you care about 2014? And there it is.
There it is, mate.
Even I remember who won the premiership in 2014, as
there.
sad as that is.
Great memories.
Yeah, I forget.
Wow, that's good. Great response there. That's good. So what? This isn't for nothing. We're doing it for good use, aren't we? People are enjoying this.
There's big changes coming to the studio
We've said,
as well.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
changes.
I've
already cleared
I've had a
space.
glimpse there. I've
Yeah.
noticed there's less furniture over here.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So stay tuned, eh?
Stay tuned.
Right.
As soon as Trev gets a couple of invoices paid, he's going to start buying stuff
Right,
again.
well, mate, hey, I'm happy to contribute, mate. Happy to contribute.
I'll just need my brother-in-law to come because it does require some drilling into the walls, and I
Wow.
don't do that.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't do that.
Not even I know what you're talking about here.
No, don't you?
Wow. Well, I got an idea, but not the full spectre,
Yeah.
the full scope of it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's just the stupid things that I do, basically.
Well, you know what? We're trying to improve the product, aren't we? Is that right? Is that
Always.
what we've been talking about? Other companies improving their products. We'll be improving our own product.
It'd be rude of us if we
Yeah.
didn't consistently work on our product as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Speaking of which, you are here to enjoy the latest in technology, tech news of the week. Basically, our opinion of everything tech. If this is your first time watching or listening, Jesus, this is just the rambling before the show.
Yeah.
The show actually starts now.
Welcome to Two Blokes Talking Tech
Not a bad price.
with Trevor Long from EFTM.com
Really handy device.
and Stephen Fennick from TechGuide.com.au.
Great to have your company. Thank you very much for watching, folks. It means a lot that you've taken the time out of your day, wherever you're doing it, however you're doing it, to enjoy Two Blokes Talking Tech. This is episode 684, according to the notepad.
I'm just double checking that.
Oh, really?
No, we were 683 last week.
The 683 was on
that was the remote one.
Google Docs.
Correct.
And this one is, and we should say, I think we preempted that we were going to be doing 2 audio shows, special video show for you.
Surprise guest appearance by Trevor in person.
I flew home to...
Trevor pulled the pin early. He's been known to do that.
I normally pre-plan the early pin pulling. Hey,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Going off early is
Smoke
not...
bomb.
Yeah, anyway.
Bang.
I'm home a little early than was expected, so we've got together for the show. And I've just realised I have to actually turn this around before 5 o'clock this afternoon.
Hello.
This is the same day recording.
Yeah, so we normally do this on a Wednesday, but
It's all right. The kids work...
Trevor's travel schedule, we had to move it to a Thursday.
The kids work Thursday afternoons here. Their job is to remove all this shelf, like we did. They did yours last week, or 2 weeks ago.
It's not my shelf, mate. It's your shelf they've moved, not mine. You mean on my
Well, the
side?
one
On
your
my side, right. Yeah, I don't own it.
So I'll edit and upload while they're doing.
Oh, you do that on
their
your ear, mate.
Heavy work.
You
Anyway,
just what do you have to edit? Just go bang. Is that what you have to do? Just take the file and go.
okay.
Like, aren't the switching? Isn't that happening automatically? Or are you doing that?
It takes
It's
45
magic. You don't
minutes
wanna
to an hour to download them onto the computer.
Okay.
Clipping them's easy, but the exporting again takes another 20 minutes. Then you got to create a cover from Canva for the podcast.
I did it
feed.
when you were away.
I've got to. Oh, you had to do one.
I
Well done.
I did 2 actually.
I've done
2.
682 of the bloody things.
Well, there's a template, mate. It takes you 20 seconds.
Actually, it's only been about 100 since I've been doing them personalised.
There you go.
And then you got to write a thing, and then you got to upload them. And there's a lot involved.
That's the cost of doing business, mate.
It is.
You know,
It is.
that's how it
Thank you.
works. That's how it works.
Specifically to Netgear and Arlo, though, because without their
Absolutely.
support, I
Yeah.
would definitely be frustrated and throwing things at the wall.
Yeah.
I mean, we make
They're
no
great
bones
supporters of
about the
us,
fact that
Netgear.
we do this for you, the listener, but because we make money as well.
Yep.
We're not here for charity.
Well, that's right. This is our job, aren't we? Like, do you work for nothing?
Is this our job?
It's our job.
Our job is podcasting.
Podcast. You could say journalist, podcaster.
I would say commentator, podcaster.
Commentator,
'cause I'm not
podcaster. I'm a journalist. But podcaster is one of my hats.
Yeah, right.
You too. Like you've got.
Mate.
We make 4 shows together, mate.
I say to some people, I think I make more money podcasting than most any other individual thing.
Maybe. Yeah.
Certainly. Let me.
Well, how much are you charging for your side of the business, mate?
I make more money podcasting than I do on television.
There you go.
Because a lot of people think.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Trev's
think,
on a massive
you're on
contract,
TV. Yeah,
eh?
mate, Jackson got a contract to Channel 9 before I did.
Well, mate, you got to do something about that.
In fact, he got paid today, and he showed me his pay slip. I
Really?
went, hang on a minute, I got some more than I got for the last few weeks.
Wow. How good's that?
The
Good
little,
luck to him.
The little fella's work. He's the youngest on the team there, working on.
Good luck to him.
He's doing YouTube thumbnails and all this kind of
And
stuff.
so he's not
cool.
doing any courses or nothing. He's just straight into there and just doing what
he's
he's
at
got to
TAFE
do.
still. He's still doing.
Oh,
he's
of course,
finishing
yeah.
his screen and media certificate.
Oh,
4.
that's right. Eh?
Yeah.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
mate.
And he
Wow.
plans to do the whatever the next one is.
Good. The
diploma.
one of the long family's going to get properly educated, eh?
Exactly. Have a
That's
qualification.
good. You're properly qualified. Hey,
It'll be useful if one of us does it for sure.
there you go.
Anyway, thanks you, Netgear. Thank you, Arlo. And
Yes.
thank you to you, our listeners and viewers, for supporting Netgear and Arlo, because That's why they are with us here.
It is really good to hear that they've bought it on our recommendation and love it.
Yeah, we love hearing
I get that a lot, and I love it.
I love hearing great stories about the products that you get on our recommendations, whether it's a sponsor like Netgear and Arlo or just someone we've recommended through a review or otherwise. We love hearing that stuff. It is Google I/O Week.
Yes, which is kind of their version of WWDC.
It is. It's traditionally their develover week. Yeah. So they have a big
what's
keynote.
I/O stand for anyway?
Well, input output, isn't it? It's
right?
I/O. It's like on and off. So
okay.
Here's the thing. I don't know.
I/O.
I/O
so
is like
zeros and ones.
Binary zeros and ones, and then it's also we're going to look like idiots if this is wrong, but isn't
you're saying it, not me.
Isn't the I and the O? Don't they also represent in a power diagram on and off? Like if
I
it's
don't
switched?
know, mate. That's why I asked you. I don't know.
Can you Google it?
But it's always been I/O.
That's right.
How many years they've been holding this? It's been quite a while.
And it is quite similar to Apple in that they have a keynote with the CEO and then a bunch of demonstrations and things, and then they have an offsite where they show a lot of things. Then they have a developer keynote specifically because Dub we don't see it, but they have a developer kind of event and keynote as well.
I have an answer.
Oh, okay.
The name I/O is taken from the number Google, which the I representing the first digit 1 in a Google and the 0 representing the second digit 0 in the number. Do you know what that means?
No.
The format of the event is similar to Google Development Day.
You haven't really helped there.
Is it good? So I understand that
Google's
like a very large number.
Huge number, yeah.
Yeah.
So it must be the size of the number, yeah.
Maybe there. Taken from the number.
I think my explanation was way better.
Yeah, maybe.
Google, stick with what I said. Can you update the AI search result to include what I said? Because it's going to sound better to people. Okay?
There you go.
Okay, so look, here's the thing. I did an hour-long briefing before the event with the CEO and all these other people explaining all the cool things they're doing. And then the kind of briefing document, you get press releases and things, right? It was a 35-page document with all of the announcements.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking...
It was a lot, yeah, I know.
I nearly ran it through Gemini to get a summary of the bloody thing.
That's a good idea.
Anyway, so what
Which
I did...
is now on Chrome.
I went, what are the things that stand out to me here, right?
Yeah.
So the 3 things that stood out to me were AI mode in search, and I'll explain these things specifically. Yep. The try it on mode for fashion.
Yep. Is that part of Gemini Live? That's part of the Live, isn't it?
I don't know. Yeah. It's built into the browser, basically.
Yeah.
And then the cool demonstration they did of Project Astra, or again, it had a weird project name, but it's essentially a real-time voice assistant that's coming.
That's Gemini Live.
It's a future thing, right?
Yep.
Let's break those 3 things down. AI mode
is
a comprehensive change to the way Google works. So you go to google.com now and you search something, as Stephen just did, and it came up with a AI result, which you read from.
Yep.
Obviously, then it shows you below that all of the websites that would normally come up in a Google search. AI mode is a new tab. You've got search, images, news, videos, those tabs up the top, shopping, one of those. Yep. AI mode will be one of those tabs. Yeah. And the idea here is that what you're saying is, I don't want you to give me answers by way of websites.
Yeah.
I want you to give me a bloody answer. And I want you to expand on it. I want you to show me information. So in simple terms, you could ask it a question, but what they're encouraging is you to ask a very verbose question. So, for example, things to do in Paris is a Google search, right?
Yep.
And you might get a couple of websites that have lists of things to do, and it might also break some of them out in an AI summary. But what they want you to do is say, in the AI mode, hey, I'm traveling to Paris with 2 kids in June. We love arts. We love sport.
Yeah.
What are some things to do? And we're on a budget. So you actually giving it all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it goes away. And it shows you on the screen what it's doing. It's all the websites it's looking at and reading essentially. And then it populates.
So it is scraping websites, isn't it?
A report.
Of course.
That's the only way it knows,
including ours, maybe.
Correct.
Yeah.
It then generates a report, which could be pages and pages long. Yeah. One of the examples they gave was like looking for camps. It's a very American thing, camps to do it spring break or winter or whatever.
Yep.
And here's what he's interested in. Here's the places he wants to go, and here's our budget. And it came up with a table of costs comparing the camps. Like this is really, really detailed stuff.
Yeah, and it's like meant to be giving you. Like that sort of the multiple question and multiple answer. So if you've got various things you need to find out, it really ramps up that access in terms of the response. So it's easy. Like before, the response used to be, okay, here's just a spits out a list, and then you've got to put it together.
Yeah.
Whereas now it puts it together. Is that fair to say? It sort of it integrates it all for you. But
the other way to look at it is like a research tool. So essentially, this AI mode can be your researcher. So we've talked about things to do, places to go. Okay, I'm researching social media and its impact on children. Right? It's a very topical thing, right?
Yep.
And I'm looking for opinions from different people, references, documentation, and it could theoretically go and do all that.
So the
for you.
AI part of that's still basically a Google search, but the AI part of that is sort of putting it together and drawing from different areas and putting it in one result.
Compiling it into a result and verbosely explaining it. So it doesn't just take a word and a graph from here. It puts that graph and then it explains what it found and what it is. Like it's literally an AI producing the report for you. You've essentially got to think of it as an AI researcher.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes further. Like if you're into your shopping, this is cool, the feature where
this is the try
you can be, say you're looking for a certain item, but you don't know what it is. It sort of presents you with pictures and sort of narrow down sort of the choices.
In AI mode. Yes, sorry, go on. Yep.
And then part of that though is if you're looking for clothes, you can upload a picture, a full length shot of yourself to see yourself in like a try on mode.
I was talking about this on the Today Show, and Sarah came to me after the show and she goes, isn't it just, putting an image on an image? And I went, no. See, the way they explained it to me was the AI, and this is where we go from, is it just a computer program taking a picture and putting it on a picture? Or is there actually AI involved, right? It can understand how fabric should fall. Yeah. And
it looks like a special effect.
It doesn't just, make it look bigger on a bigger person.
It doesn't just stick it on you.
Yeah. So
it's like you're wearing it.
And she's like, why would you need that? And I think it's about, do I like this outfit? And Jackson's working, so Amanda's like, have you got enough clothes? And she's always sending in photos of, I'll buy you this, and what about this outfit? And it's exactly that. It's like, I don't know, it's just a picture of an outfit. But what if you could just put it on you and go, actually, you look really cool in that, mate. It suits you.
You think about, like, before, if you want to go clothes shopping, if you knew your size, good luck. You can buy stuff online, but you can't try it on. The advantage of being in the store is they've got a dressing room. You can try stuff on, look in the mirror. Well, this is sort of made online shopping for clothes completely different.
And look, it's rolled out in America first, so we won't see this from many Australian creators. But I've already seen Marcus Brownlee do it.
I saw that. That was funny.
That's smart.
That was funny. Yeah.
That's the kind of thing it's going to do.
Yeah. So is this available now? Is that
in America? It's
okay. It's coming soon.
I think it might be in labs. Right. So it's one of those things you sign up for. Okay. But the other part of AI mode, which you touched on with the shopping search, not just the try on, but then there's the concept, because it's not there yet, but the concept of price watch and buy for me.
Yeah.
Now, I use this on Google Flights. Flights.google.com is the greatest website. I'm always tracking.
Apart from EFTM and Tech Guide. The greatest website.
For flights, it is. So, for example, CES flights. I know what dates we're going to go.
Yep.
I put those in and I let it. I get emails every day when it goes up or down, and I kind of go, well, this is the price I want to pay. I'll wait for it to get closer to that, right?
Right.
What they're doing is for the billions of products that exist on Google in shopping, they're saying, look, you've seen these headphones, this skirt, this dress, whatever it might be, this thing you want to buy, but you're thinking, it's a bit too expensive for me.
Yeah.
You can set a price that you go, at this price, I'd be ready to buy.
Right.
And then it will send you a notification on your phone. They show it in a pixel. We'd assume it would work anyway, but they'll send you a notification going, this item has hit this price, and do you want to buy it now? And there's a button that says, buy it for me.
Yeah, right.
And you click that button, you click the Google checkout button, and because Google Checkout has your wallet, your address and everything, it then just goes thinking, and it just buys it for you.
Yep.
You don't have to go to the website. You don't have to do anything. It just does it for you. That's actually pretty cool.
I might use that with new Lego, when new Star Wars Lego comes out.
Yeah.
But anyway.
You'll lose a lot of money. But they want to be clear, the power continues to stay in your hands.
Yeah. But do they clip the ticket there? Do they, in that transaction, would there be something that they get out of that, you reckon? Would it be?
The fact that you're using the Google Wallet is probably the advantageous thing for them, I would have thought.
Right. Okay. Because that's right. It's got your credit cards in the Google Wallet.
Yes.
Right.
But, think about...
So it'd be like Apple Pay. Apple takes a cut of that too, don't they?
It's a very, very, very small percentage, but it's enough to make it worthwhile,
but
right?
If there's 1 billion transactions a day, it goes pretty good.
Correct.
Yeah,
I think that if you think about how They're refining the concept of shopping. They're refining the concept of AI search. These are massive, massive deals, I reckon.
Okay.
In terms of the way that they're, changing the concepts of search. Think about it very clearly, and we've talked about this with our position on AI and things. But Google search in 5 years from now will not be anything like it is. Like I asked Harry or Vivi something the other day, and they gave me the answer. I said, Google it, whatever. And I realized they gave me the answer from the AI summary. They just took it.
Yep.
Without question, they took it as being the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that should we move on to that's a nice segue into Gemini, don't you reckon? Gemini, the app, continues to improve. They got the new video and image generation.
Let me try this, okay? Yeah. Because I think this comes to life best when you see the example. So I'm trying to load the example here, okay?
Yep.
So for the people listening, if you want to go on YouTube, this is a far better way to watch it. But imagine
you got some B-roll.
I'm running B-roll, okay?
Oh, my God.
Imagine, but you got to listen to the audio because this is a demonstration. It's a kid or a guy fixing his bike.
That's great. I've got this embedded on my story.
This is such a great example.
That's Gemini Live, isn't it? Gemini Live.
Almost inspirational, right?
Yeah.
It's a background project. It's a lab thing. It's not available to anyone yet. But
before you roll on that,
it brings in multiple aspects, right? Because it brings in the idea of firstly a verbose voice assistant like you can do with ChatGPT, right?
Yep.
It brings in the 2018 Google I/O launch of the phone call thing. Do you remember? This was 2018. I remember it vividly.
That long ago?
Yes, because I was doing, it's weird, I remember this, but I was doing a speaking tour and I was in Melbourne and I did this whole thing on the Today Show about how this thing would call restaurants to make a booking
reservations.
For you and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
So it brings that in.
Yeah.
Like,
it's remarkable.
But
remarkable. Also, too, they made it quite clear that it's available for free, Android and iOS.
Yeah, Gemini Live.
So is this going to pull Siri's pants down, sort of thing? Is it going to be people going to be preferring Gemini to Siri?
Watch and listen to this, and then we'll unpack it and discuss it.
I'm here with the latest research prototype of Project Astra, and we're going to see how it can help me fix my bike. Hey, go online and look for a user's manual for a Huffy mountain bike.
I have found a user manual for you. What would you like to know about it?
Okay, cool. Now scroll until you find the section about the brakes.
Sure thing. Looking for that page now.
Scrolls autonomously.
I think I stripped this screw. Can you go on YouTube and find a video for how to fix that?
Of course. I'm opening YouTube now. This looks like a good video.
Place a rubber band over the head of the screw.
Oh, nice.
Press down
Thanks.
firmly.
Can you go through my emails with the bike shop and find which size hex nut I need?
Sure. According to the email from Bicycle Habitat, you need a 3/8" hex nut for your sprocket. I've highlighted the correct bin for you.
It seems like I need a spare tension screw. Can you call the nearest bike shop and see what they have in stock?
Yep. Calling them now. I'll get back to you with what they have in stock.
I think my brake pads are wearing down. Can you check the manual again and see if it talks about them anywhere?
According to the manual, if you look on page 24...
Do you want to get lunch?
Yeah, give me 5 minutes. Can you finish what you were saying?
As I was saying, if you look on page 24, section 2, you'll see how to replace the brake pads.
Hey, any updates on that call?
Yep, I just got off of the bike shop. They confirmed they have your tension screw in stock. Would you like me to place a pickup order?
Could you show me some examples of dog baskets I can put on my bike?
Sure, I can help you with that. Just give me a moment. Here are some options. I think Zuka would look really great in these.
Honestly, mate,
That's amazing.
that's wild, right?
Yeah.
The idea. So the thing that weirdly most impressed me about that video was not the scrolling through a user manual, not scrolling through YouTube, like autonomously looking
through
stuff.
emails.
It wasn't the answering his questions. It was he got interrupted by someone and she paused and like that's
Continue what you were saying, he said. Yeah. Okay.
mate, that's unbelievable. That's real.
That's incredible, yeah.
So that's Project Astra. It's future concept which will hopefully be embedded into the Gemini app, because Gemini Live, which is the app on Android and iOS, as you mentioned, is essentially Google's competitor to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I got the ChatGPT app on my phone.
Yep.
And
Is it at that level yet then? How would this compare? Has this overtaken ChatGPT then?
No, I think they're head to head. So it's interesting because whenever you watch at I/O, They spent a lot of time showing benchmarks of how Gemini is the most powerful large language model. It's faster, it's mathematical capabilities, all this kind of stuff. They're basically saying our AI is better than OpenAI, it's better than Meta, it's better than everyone else, right?
Yep.
They're really big on that, saying
Yep.
Gemini is what's making all this possible, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, I've not found too much that I can't do in Gemini that I can do in ChatGPT. My issue, and it continues to be this case, is I want to use Gemini permanently because I'm a Google guy, right?
Yep.
But I'm paying monthly for a workspace subscription, and that excludes me from using most of the features because they're not available. It's so dumb.
But aren't they starting? Wasn't there like a way for you to use? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, there's a way to bring in your Gmail and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
But all these things launched first for the free public version of Google
consumers.
Gmail. So I've got to log into my old
Yes.
20-year-old Gmail account to even see these
see
features
that,
working.
yeah.
So, like for
That's
example,
frustrating.
VO, their video creation platform.
Yep.
I can't use it.
Oh.
I can't use it on my main
Even though you're paying
Gmail
them,
login.
your monthly, like I pay too for my Google services. Yeah.
I just can't.
Wow.
And I'm not going to log out because I don't want to log out. I want it to know who I am.
Yeah.
See, ChatGPT has gotten to a point where I teach it every day about me. If I'm having a conversation, I'll say, oh, don't forget to remember that. Remember that about me.
Yeah.
And it just remembers these things. And so it becomes so useful
Absolutely.
that they're behind. But they are going to make so much money out of this thing because people are paying for it. They've now got a $300 a month plan.
Yeah, I know.
That gives
So
you like
AI
30 terabytes of
Ultra.
storage.
Yeah.
And by the way, I
And
just want
Pro.
that storage.
Yeah.
And all of these, enhanced
It's pretty expensive
AI
though, isn't it? It's like
features.
$300 US a month.
Yes.
A month.
It's wild.
Whoa.
But
That's
if you're a
serious
business-
power user doing that.
Like if you're a business,
Yeah.
that's
They got a $19.99, which is the Pro, then they got
Yeah.
the Ultra. Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny naming conventions there, Aaron.
Pro and Ultra.
Mate, just an update too on the I/O, meaning of I/O. I've
yeah,
done
go
some
on.
further
Go, hit
research.
me.
Google said, this is from Google now. The other one was just a Google
It was an
search
AI.
anyway.
It was the AI summary.
Yeah, AI got it wrong. First is the input-output like you referred to.
Yes.
Second explanation you'll see is that I/O stands for innovation in the open.
Because they have it at the Shoreline Amphitheatre.
There you go.
Which is an
I
open
just wanted to
open
update
venue.
you there. I didn't want to leave you with the Google explanation that AI came up with.
Isn't it hilarious that the
That
AI
Google got it
summary was wrong?
They got it wrong. Or maybe one of the
And you're
summaries.
just on the Google website
yeah.
finding out about it.
The meaning of I/O. Yeah, how the event got its name. Hello.
Which indicates how far away we are from AI being actually perfect and great.
Yeah, getting closer by the month, aren't we? Yeah.
It is like it's
Unless-
happening exponentially.
Unless you are Apple. Is Apple, do you reckon? How?
Well-
So let's put them together, all right? This is our segue into WWDC now. So do you think at this point, would Apple be looking over at Mountain View thinking, damn, look what they've done?
I'm in two minds, right? Part of me says that they're business as usual. They're building amazing products. The software on them is amazing. And I think that we have to be real. The number of actual people using AI on a daily basis is quite low. All these companies will tell you their usage is higher than ever and growing.
You reckon?
But how often is Joe using AI?
Yeah, she does. In fact, she used it yesterday. She went on ChatGPT. She works at a Catholic school. She had to write come up with a prayer, and she wanted to get some suggestions. She used ChatGPT yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I still think it's very rare.
Yeah.
And so I think that the basic things that you can do on ChatGPT are now available through Siri. Because remember, you can use ChatGPT through Siri. That's
what
all
you
there
did.
now in
Yeah,
Apple
yeah.
Intelligence.
Yep.
So I think part of them is like, guys, just relax. We're still making great phones and we're ready for this revolution when it comes to the mainstream.
Yeah.
But I think in reality, there's another half of the team going, guys, shouldn't we be the ones releasing that unbelievable demo that we just saw?
Like, isn't Gemini the new Siri? Isn't that Gemini is their voice assistant now, right? And sort of Google Assistant is sort of now Gemini.
Well, that's a whole other problem of its
taken-
own that doesn't, what is Google doing with Google Assistant
Well,
and why isn't Google Assistant as smart as Gemini?
Yeah, but isn't Gemini kind of taking the lead now, and that's now the competitor of Siri? Do you think that, or?
Well, I don't think it is because there's only an app that you can use Gemini Live on. You can't. Like
But look
they've got
what
a
they've
device. Google has a device issue.
Yeah.
So for all the people bagging Apple for having an AI issue, I think Google has a device issue. So if you look at OpenAI,
You mean a device issue as in works on their own devices, other devices?
Google has tens of millions, I'm assuming, certainly millions of devices in people's homes
Okay.
that can't use all this cool stuff.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
OpenAI, ChatGPT, they have not an AI issue. They also have a device
They've got
issue,
a
which
device.
is why they've just spent $6.5 billion buying Johnny Ive's startup product, which we don't know what it is, but you
so
can
it's
only
like a smart
assume
speaker of some kind.
you can only assume it's going to be better than the Rabbit and all those other stupid things that came out. But it's going to be the way to
a
interact with AI.
standalone device.
Yes.
Right. That's not a phone.
Right.
But how like, and I know the Rabbit and the other things that I've seen a couple of other standalone devices that have just fallen by the wayside already. So, yeah. So you're saying that Google there's Google devices, right, in homes and on and phones as well, whereas ChatGPT they've got the opposite problem where they've got all this tech but not enough devices. And so you're saying that the Johnny Ive product is going to be their Google Assistant.
That's going to be
smart speaker.
That's going to be how ChatGPT breaks out of being just a software company.
You'd think that they would be up for bids, mate. Wouldn't you think that between I know Alexa has got their own AI, I guess, and Google they're going down their own path. So, I suppose you do need
The
another
question
player
is,
in the field.
did Apple miss out on ChatGPT at some point? Have they made a bid? Did they miss out? Did they say no?
But hadn't Microsoft been backing it
That's the
since
next
day
Walter
one?
Isaacson book.
Microsoft have been backing ChatGPT.
Doesn't stop them selling out because they're only a partner in it.
I guess,
and
but
cashing in.
But I think Microsoft were too deep in their investment, mate. They weren't going to let that go. That was
You don't know
the future.
I don't know
for
if they have controlling interest in the ability
I'd
to
say they would.
overthrow.
They were a major
takeover.
contributor to that.
I don't know what interest they have, but the bottom line is when we get to Dub, everyone thinks it's going to be them mea culpa AI. Mate, Apple's not going to say we did all these, we announced these things last year and some of them didn't happen. They're just going to say here's what's happening. Don't you think?
Can you envisage? Yeah, no, I reckon too. They'll handle it very professionally. But do you think that you'll see a demo of Siri? Like we showed earlier, is there a Siri-like demo they've got in their back pocket that can do that sort of thing?
Not to that extent, no.
Well, mate, they're in trouble then because Gemini they've hit it out of the park.
Yes.
Gemini, Apple. I know you can use it on an iPhone, but doesn't Apple want to position Siri and have their own?
That's the biggest problem.
Is Apple just going to be? We're just going to keep producing the devices for this to live on.
Siri is the dumbest of the voice assistants. Siri is we said this year after year, and we were having this same conversation last year before Dub that Siri is the one that needs to become the leader in AI.
Yeah,
and they're not because Apple has the chance to revolutionize the AI industry by putting powerful AI in the hands of millions of people in an instant, which they would claim they have done. Yeah. But I would argue
with Apple Intelligence.
But I would argue they haven't done enough. Yeah. Because I still think, mate, I love my summaries. Yeah. People bag it, but that's just people looking for headlines, trying to find the odd bad thing. But I love the summaries.
I like the summary too, the email summaries,
I love
text
the priority
message
stuff.
Yeah.
I love the basics of what Apple Intelligence has done for me. Yeah. But I now have, so in my, the email program I use, I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. It's auto drafting for me. Responses. Some of them are rubbish, but some of them are good. It's going to get better. That's happening now in Gmail.
Yeah, that was just about to say that it looks at all your writing style and all your and makes a response that would sound like you wrote it, read like you wrote it.
You can't. You're the measure. You're using Apple Mail.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that if Google can pull off, because you're a Gmail account, but your interface is through Apple Mail.
Yes.
You can't tell me that if that becomes viable, you're just going to start opening up the browser.
I am there. Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, browser, I've never been comfortable looking at emails on a browser. The email is a separate thing to the browser to me. I've always, I don't know why.
Honestly.
I don't know why, but I don't know. That's just how I am. But
it's
I
like
prefer to have
an OptusNet address.
Well, which I don't anymore, but
I think everyone knows what I'm referring to. It takes you a long time to get there.
I understand, but it was I think back at Apple, I think it's their failure that isn't better than it should be better. I think the Mac Mail application, it's improved with Apple Intelligence a little bit, but there's room for improvement,
mate. It is going to be fascinating because I'm not sure. So you think about all the leaks and rumors you normally get ahead of an WWDC or iOS, how it's going to change. There's a lot of talk of the design language changing.
I think it's more design change than feature change.
And it was fascinating to watch the Airbnb CEO, Brian Chesky, get honestly so excited, weirdly excited about the design language in their app.
Okay.
He was so excited they changed from a flat icon to a three-dimensional.
Oh, so it's going back to a three-dimensional, really?
Yes, yeah. Because
that's sort of
instead of an
we-
icon of a house, it looked like a house. And when the door, when you click on it, the door opened and the light came on. All these kind of beautiful little touches. He was so excited about, like legit excited about.
Yeah, that's very
And so
Apple-esque.
It made me think: are they that confident that Apple's going to go down back into the kind of 3D style path?
Yeah, I think so. That's what I'm hearing. You're probably hearing the same. But I just want to go back to Google for a second. Do you think Google making Gemini and then this new Gemini Live compatible with both Android and iOS? Do you reckon that was a smart move?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
having it,
it's about market share.
Would it not be in their best interest to make it an Android exclusive so that more customers think, geez, I wish my phone could do that, and they buy an Android phone?
No, 100%. It's a market share thing. They're smart.
Yeah.
It's the same reason, very low level, that Apple Music exists on Android, because otherwise they're saying to 50% of the world you can't use our streaming service.
Yeah, right. But yeah, it's just interesting how is Apple just sitting back and letting Gemini do all the heavy lifting for them because it's going to be iOS compatible. So do they have to produce Siri? Like that'll cost billions of dollars to get Siri to the level of Gemini.
It would require,
do they need to do that? Are they going to do that is my question.
It would require a company, an investment, a data center.
You need a backer, don't you? You need a ChatGPT or someone at your back to do that.
Or you need to build that. Like, let's be real. Google built Gemini.
Yes.
Meta built Llama.
Yep.
Microsoft built Copilot, and it's backed by
ChatGPT,
it's really underpinned by ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And OpenAI built ChatGPT.
Yep.
Apple has built nothing.
Yeah. That we know of.
Nothing at that scale.
Yeah.
No, I don't know which bloody.
Something's talking.
Oh, it was Siri, I think.
Yeah.
So they've missed that investment. It's going to be Tim Cook's potentially biggest failure in his career.
Yeah.
To have in whatever year in 2020 something that they didn't agree to
have a pillar, an AI pillar.
There's apparently some new book out about Apple in China or something, and it's quite controversial, and there's emails leaked and all this kind of stuff.
Ooh, okay.
If there are emails leaked in 10 years from now that show that Sam Altman went to Tim Cook and said, "Mate, for $1 billion, it's all yours. Let's go. This is huge," or some other genius did this. Like if it's ever shown that they missed an opportunity.
Yeah, could be because you think about it, right? You like you mentioned before. So Google's got Gemini.
Yep.
Microsoft's got Copilot, which is OpenAI, ChatGPT. Amazon's got their own too, haven't they? Doesn't Amazon have their own AI?
Yeah, what's it underpinned by?
I don't think their own. You said Meta's got Llama.
Yeah.
So Apple has nothing that we know of. It's not. It's like ChatGPT. They got a relationship with ChatGPT. So it's interesting to see. I suppose Google's in the business of the search and doing that sort of stuff.
Amazon
software.
utilizes Amazon Lex, a cloud-based service.
So it's their own stuff.
Chatbots.
Yeah, their own stuff. Interesting how do they need to do that? Like it's like folding phones, right? So folding phones have been around for 6 years. We've seen Samsung. We're going to be version 7 in a couple of months. It's Apple have sat back and thinking, we don't need to make that right now. We don't need to do that now. Do you think that's the same for them with AI because everyone else is doing the heavy lifting and they're just waiting?
That's why I'm not writing them off yet, because I think that while it's exciting and fun and interesting, it can just be an app for now.
Yeah.
Apple's going, listen, you can have Gemini, you can have ChatGPT, you can have all this stuff. When we bring you what's really going to change you, you'll be on board.
Because I'm just really surprised that, because last year's Dub Siri could do a lot more. That was said it's going to do a lot more, similar to sort of the organising things and calling and booking and doing that. I'm just surprised that I'd be very surprised if Siri isn't enhanced in some way to be able to achieve that. Will show developers that it's possible at Dub. Siri needs to be AI-ified, you know what I mean? It needs to be more.
Mate,
yeah.
I want Siri to be the headline from Dub.
Yeah, I think it has to be, mate.
Not the fact that Siri can interface with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I want Siri to be the headline.
Siri, yeah. Because we were promised that, weren't we? The last Dub, it was a lot of promised features that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
And everyone knows that. That's no mystery. Everyone's waiting. And Apple Intelligence came out in Australia in December last year, so it's been a little while. But Dub's what, 2 weeks away, and they're not going to release anything now until Dub Dub's got to take place before we know anything more.
It's going to be fascinating. All right, well, we will keep you in the loop, and we'll keep unpacking it as we do here on Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Everything about tech you never wanted to know. This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Two Blokes Talking Tech is proudly supported, and we're great mates with the guys at Arlo. Arlo, if you after some home security, you want to improve your security at your place, then a great way to start is with the Arlo cameras. They range from the essential all the way through to the ultra cameras. They've got wired floodlights, doorbells, solar panels as well to keep them charged all the time. But they also have their Arlo secure plans as well, which adds a lot to those cameras, including 30 days of cloud storage for all your video, but also 2 smart notifications so you're able to see when a vehicle, an animal, a package or a person. You can even personalize that to know members of your family when they're seen on the cameras as well, or when your vehicles are seen on the camera. There's also a lot of safety features built in too, including we recently spoke about flame detection is part of the Arlo Secure, and that can detect a flame, which when you think about it, if you can detect a flame, that's going to be faster than a smoke detector. The other just announced feature is the advanced audio detection, which applies to the wired devices. If you've got an Arlo, an essential indoor camera, a wired floodlight camera, then this will advise you. So not only is it seeing, looking out for motion, it's also listening as well. So it'll hear things like screams and gunshots and dogs barking, glass breaking. Hopefully it'll never hear that. But if and when it does, it can give you a notification as it happens, so you can take the appropriate action, view the live video from that notification as well. So they've got your back. They're covering you from the front door to your backyard, all around your home, doorbells, wired floodlights, you name it. They've got it at Arlo. If you want to check it out, visit arlo.com.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.
Shots fired, Stephen. Shots fired.
Hey, this is big, and just to be clear, I've already spoken about this on my Tech Guide. I spoke about the news on Tech Guide.
Yeah.
I think our discussions are going to be more about what's going to happen next. But this is amazing.
TPG Vodafone. We'll just call them Vodafone, but TPG is the parent company, stock market, whatever. Vodafone is the company you all know. Vodafone, I'm going to use the glasses here because there's a lot of different reading to be done. I want to be very specific about who's saying what, right?
Yep.
Vodafone has basically made a huge allegation against Telstra. Vodafone has called for regulatory investigation into Telstra's mobile coverage claims after discovering that Telco appears to have been misleading Australians for over a decade. Now, basically, Vodafone's dug through annual reports for over the last 15 years to find all those claims that Telstra makes about, 99%, let's call it, percentages of coverage of population, and also square kilometres of coverage. And they talk about how it's not just Telstra, it's Boost, it's all the other sub-brands. And the representative from TPG Vodafone says, this is alarming. It appears Telstra has tricked Australians into paying top dollar for coverage they simply can't get on a regular mobile phone. We are shocked that Telstra appears to have been overstating its coverage by so much for so long, and we're calling on them to make it right. And their basic allegation here is that there is a discrepancy of potentially 1 million square kilometres.
Yeah. Which is what the size of New South Wales and Victoria combined or something like that.
So Telstra says we've got 3 million kilometres of coverage.
Yeah.
Vodafone's saying, we think it's only 2. And here's what. Vodafone is saying that Telstra is using an external antenna when they make those measurements. Now, you can buy external antennas. Yeah. I've recommended them to plenty of people in the bush. They're thousands of dollars. Yep. You plug it's a box in your car that gets powered. Then it's a big antenna either on the roof or the bull bar or whatever, and it does give you better reception.
And then that
where you're driving along and there's no signal, you might get a bar. You might get 2 bars. Where you've got 1 bar, you might get 3 because essentially you've got a powered antenna that's sucking down the rays, right? Yeah. That's how it's done. But Vodafone is saying, guys, we measure, our measurement of, we've got more than 1 million kilometres of coverage or whatever is based on one of these things.
They just wave a smartphone in the air, basically, don't they?
That's how we populate the maps.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty big deal. If you then go to Telstra, Telstra's response is, I love this. No matter how you look at it, Telstra's mobile network covers more of Australia than any other. Any suggestion we've misled the public about the size of our network is completely untrue. They do, though, go on to say that we do use an external antenna, right?
Yeah.
Vodafone.
I like how they said they're transparent, but they said we're going to update our website to reflect that now.
Yeah, and Vodafone, mate, they've got screenshots. Ladies and gentlemen, Vodafone took screenshots of everything. Here's what the Telstra website looked like before we complained, and here's what it looks like now. Because they essentially sent a note to Telstra saying, you guys are tricking people, and Telstra went, holy crap, we should change that.
Yeah.
And they changed a few things.
I'm surprised it's gotten through this long without being detected. Because normally, and you've been in the middle of this, when one company says, fastest 5G and widest thing.
Do you remember when 4G came out?
Yeah. Everyone's on top of each other.
I was quoted in an ad from Vodafone saying this is the fastest network, and Telstra sent legal letters to take the ad down. It was my test. It was my thing. They're very brutal about this stuff.
So they're not going to let it slide.
So you're right. It's wild that it's taken 15 years.
How has this gotten through through to the keeper for so long? And how, the next question is, well, what's going to happen? Like, is the ACCC going to step in here? Or is this going to end up in court? Is Telstra going to pay a massive fine?
Could be a bit
What's the deal?
Could be a bit of all three.
Yeah.
So Vodafone has complained to the ACCC. Yep. And this kind of came about because ACMA or the ACCC were doing a report on mobile coverage. And I think Vodafone looked at the submissions and went, wait, what? What are you talking about? And then they realised that this had been buried under their noses for the whole time.
Unbelievable.
Vodafone has also said that they haven't said they're going to sue them, but they've said that legal action, is an option.
Let's talk about that, because Vodafone's argument here is that they've unfairly made these claims that have persuaded customers to go, right, well, you must be the best, we're going to go with you. So they've overlooked Vodafone and Optus for that matter, because they're stated that they've kind of made you feel like they have the best in regional rural areas, the best coverage. Which you talk to how many times have you spoken to people on the radio?
Yeah.
Everyone's on Telstra because that's the assumption that they're better. They're way better.
The fact is, and this is where Telstra is going to win this argument. Yeah. They do have better coverage. Yeah. In large parts of Australia.
They ploughed the road in terms of the infrastructure and towers.
They got a lot of government funding to build infrastructure over their ownership, different years.
Yeah,
but look, should a consumer get some kickback from a class action style approach here? Now, I said, and I don't think it got played on the news, but I said to 9 News, look, because they asked me that question, I don't think that you'll find too many people in the bush that'll go, wait, their claim's wrong. So Vodafone's got a bigger network, and they're going to go, no, it's still Telstra. And they're going to go, well, I'm fine then, That's the challenge is Vodafone's got double the network because they're with Optus now, but it's still not the 2 million that Telstra has. Now, I spoke to Optus just for the record because what I wanted to understand was, well, okay, what are the numbers? Yeah. Telstra are flat out not going to produce a number as in this many square kilometres based on handsets.
They're not. That's only the external antenna.
That's how they measure it. That's I should. I'll be clear. I won't read this. Do
you think
specifically because I have not been given a quote, but on background, they say they take a scientific but conservative approach. This is Telstra.
Yeah.
But they do say they recognise a need for people to easily compare mobile coverage, and that's why they worked with the Australian Mobile Telecommunications Industry Body to set up a working group to discuss what this could look like, which Vodafone is part of. So I assume that's where this all started.
Mate, I'm thinking back here when this would have started, right? So Telstra, you think back 15 years, right?
Yeah.
Where was Vodafone then? That was Vodafone days, right? So Telstra's, this is when they sort of they wanted to kick ahead even further, is when they started doing this to really expound their mobile coverage.
Yeah.
So Vodafone at that time were in a mess, and so could that have added to the ease in which Telstra got this through, because Vodafone was sort of dealing with their own dramas.
They certainly couldn't argue the case at the time, could they?
No, but Vodafone were sort of looking inward, not outward at the time.
That's right. Yeah. Optus say they're comfortable with the way they represent their map, and they say they will be reviewing the claims made by TPG carefully and will consider if any action is required.
Right.
So I think what's
so
going to
obviously
happen.
Optus don't use external antennas either.
No,
then, by the
I
sounds
think
of it.
they were pretty clear on that.
Yeah.
I think what will happen here, just reading between the lines, I feel like this working group is going to have to come up with a equilibrium, a solution that does measure the same way for everyone.
Yeah. You got to have a standard, mate. You think in
have
the
to.
telco industry that have a standard too? It's
like,
unbelievable. This is surprising, isn't it? Like that whole thing. The Telstra was pretty brazen how they did that. Like the external antenna. Like, come on. Like, imagine if Vodafone did that. How would their claims have changed, right? Imagine Vodafone 15 years ago using that, and even Optus for that matter, right? How would that have been different? Would Telstra be where it is today if that had been the case?
So here's the one that sticks with Telstra. I think that when you and I get phone calls in 1 week or 1 year from now from someone on the radio going, but I drove to here and the coverage wasn't good. It's because
there's black spots.
It's because they switched off 3G. That's the biggest argument right now is because they switched off 3G. And our response is going to be, it's because the maps are wrong. Yeah. Because you're just using a mobile phone. Yeah. Like
where's your external antenna?
It's got a really low level damage to Telstra, but it's ensure that it will have a lasting impact.
Well, I discussed this I was on Monday night with John Stanley on 2GB, and we had callers, texters saying, I live here and I don't get coverage between here and here. I drive here every day. And all the Telstra customers were coming out with, I don't get reception here and everything. So there was all the pylon for Telstra.
How many of them are willing to change telcos, though?
I don't know. I'm not sure. But, mate, the amount of advertising Vodafone's pumping out, about their regional coverage now. Mate, I like those ads. They're quite funny. But that's building awareness. Is it a coincidence that Vodafone's found this discrepancy in the middle of their massive marketing campaign?
Mate, I honestly don't think this is part of their campaign. I think they literally went to this working group. They've
stumbled on it, yeah.
They were at this working group, and I'll clarify again what it is. It's an analysis of maps provided for the ACCC's 2024 Mobile Infrastructure Report appear to show that Telstra has been making these claims based on signal strength that can only be obtained using an external antenna. So essentially, Vodafone's corporate affairs team's just been going, what's an external antenna? And they've gone, why are you asking?
Yeah, because Telstra using one.
And they've gone, wait, we should tell Iñaki. And Inyaki's gone, what
the hell? He spat his coffee up.
Oh, mate. He would have had a latte.
Would have been a spit take.
Yeah.
Iñaki. We should ask him that.
I mean,
mate, what was your reaction? He goes, mate, I got latte all over my screen.
You know what? I'll speak for Iñaki. He would have said this. This is what he'd say. He'd say, I would never have put it past them. He'd be like, this is the kind of things that Telstra do.
Wow. Okay.
Because they play the game. They play the corporate game. They play the government game. I'll tell you what it is. I get really frustrated when I hear the term Qantas is the flag national carrier of Australia.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? There's no reason. They're not owned by the government. There's no reason.
They were there first. Yeah.
There's no reason other than they were there first. Zero reason.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. We hold
the national
Qantas
carrier
in this highest.
But they're the biggest, aren't they? They're the biggest carrier in Australia.
Because we keep talking about them like they're the greatest. They're not.
Yeah.
They're at least the same.
They're Australian
as Virgin.
Is it? Yeah.
They're at least the same.
Okay.
And they've got international shareholders. Then there's no like Telstra.
Yeah.
It's all this historic
yeah.
feeling about the brand. And look, respect for them. Most people will not give a rat's. They will stick with their coverage.
Of course, yeah, I know.
Because even until they see a map, they will just believe that Telstra is going to have better coverage no matter where you go.
For sure.
Which, by the way, is simply not true because in many regional areas, and when we drove the Model X from Brisbane to Adelaide, and that's got to be in 2017 or something, like it's a long time ago.
Yep.
There was me, Stig, and Bowen, and all three of us had different mobile providers.
Right.
We would go to some random town, and it would always be a different person with better coverage.
Right.
It was never always Telstra.
Yeah.
It was never always Vodafone.
Remember, when did we drive? We drove to Orange. Remember we did that trip? And that was, we were both Vodafone customers. Oh, no, we were Telstra customers at the time, I think.
Because
we switched, COVID. That's right. Yeah, wow. And we found that tower. Where was that in Orange? We found the 5G tower
that's
up the
right.
hill.
It was just, up the hill.
Yeah, we found it.
One of the early 5G towers. Anyway, we digress. Anyway, stay tuned for more on this absolute coverage war, folks. It is flying. And I'm pretty excited about it, to be honest, because I love it, Biffo.
Oh, mate, it's going to. We haven't heard the end of this by a long shot.
No,
I don't reckon. They're going to be hearing. This is going to reverberate for quite some time.
I can feel it now. Two Blokes Talking Tech.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
And we do it all thanks to the great people at Netgear. We've got you sorted with home security. Now you need great network to back that up, along with all the other devices in your home. You're streaming in 4K. You're streaming in multiple rooms in 4K. Like we're downstairs watching the main lounge room. Harry's probably on his laptop. Jackson's definitely in his bedroom watching TV. It's all streamed at one time. Yep. You need a good Wi-Fi network. And the thing about that example is it's all across the home. When you put a mesh Wi-Fi system in, you get coverage across the whole home. I've always, for a decade now, described it, and this is my own words, described it as you implement a mesh system like the Netgear Orbi and you get a dome of Wi-Fi over your whole home, which provides you with the full speed that you're paying for in every corner of the home. No more black spots, no need for extenders because that's old school technology. Mesh gives you the full speed everywhere. There's a range of products from Netgear you can find. You can find them at major retailers and, of course, at netgear.com.au.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.
Well, Sony have released the review you can hear on Tech Guide and read on Tech Guide as well. The XM6, 2 years. Is it 2 years since the 5K?
I feel like it's longer than that.
Yeah. Well,
we were literally on a plane on the week a couple of weeks ago discussing how, frankly, this market has plateaued. Like we had year-on-year innovation early on, and I remember I was at IFA with Sony when the first WH-1000s came out, and all their testing was unbelievable. They were so good, and they literally challenged Bose from day one. Yeah, and the Mark
challenge
4s,
continues.
The Mark 4s are the absolute benchmark in my mind on design, usability, and noise cancelling.
Yeah.
The Mark 5s were a backward step because of the design didn't allow them to sit flat. There were some really silly things about them that they went backwards on. And now they've brought all that feedback into the Mark 6.
I thought the 5s did sit flat.
No, they don't sit flat. Like they've got to sit on your. If you put them around your neck, you can't lay them flat. Yeah.
Okay. Because they went in the case flat, do they or not?
I don't know.
And XM6s are different. They don't go flat. Well, you can rest them flat, but they also fold.
They fold and they do every angle.
Smaller
so
case.
There's like 2 hinges on the end, so that it can go
so
either
design
way.
wise, a tweak.
Massive
but I've got to say, noise cancellation. I don't think I've heard better. This one, they've got 12 mics, so 6 on each, 4 on the outside on each, 2 in the inside on each, and I cannot. Even Bose, I think this is better noise cancellation. I in my office, I got where that monitor is there. I've got a 65-inch TV that's like 1.5 meters away from where I sit. With these on, I can't hear it. It's right there. So noise cancellation, brilliant, but doesn't stop there. Having good noise cancellation isn't why you buy them. It's a part of the reason, but their audio quality, and Sony's got quite the heritage in audio quality. And they've gone to another level there as well. What I like is how they've got a range that they send them out to golden ears, the engineers, and not just any old engineer, like engineers that work on Bob Dylan and Lady Gaga in the industry that know what good music, good sound should sound like.
Because in the end, and all headphones brands talk about this, JBL, Bose, everyone says we're trying to give you the studio quality of this recording.
That's the definition of high fidelity, is making it sound like the source. That's where hi-fi comes from, high fidelity, and that's the goal of these. Yeah. But the what colour do you like, mate? I've got the silver, the beigey colour ones.
Stick with the good old traditional
the black.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
But and the
they're $700 though.
Yeah, they're $699. $649 was the previous model. These have gone up to $700. And you know what? I've got to say, it's worth every cent. If you're a frequent traveller, if you're really fussy about your audio quality, and you might be both of those things, then mate, this is a no-brainer. The Sony's done it again.
I'll say this to you. I still think the best value headphones on the market are the Sony WH-1000 Mark 4s.
They still sell. Yeah, that's what they still sell them.
$399
Yeah,
for $400. They've been cheaper than that too. I've seen them at $350.
Yeah, right.
They're unbelievable. And I'll say this preemptively regarding the new JBL Tour Pro 3s.
Which are also, we've been listening to those. They are, and they've got the little transmitter too.
Mate.
Yeah, they're genius. And with 60-hour battery life, is a 50-hour battery life.
I can't even tell you yet because I've flown
charged them yet.
Mate, I've flown to America. So I flew through the LA, Washington, Houston, LA, Sydney, LA, New York, San Francisco, LA, and Sydney,
And
I still haven't charged
What?
them. I'm telling you, they're still at 50% or more.
it must be 60
Last time I
hours
looked,
then.
they were at
Yeah.
70%.
Because that's one downside of the Sonys is they're only 30 hours,
Mate.
which is a lot, but it's not as much as their competitors.
Now, it's not really that big a deal these days because everything's USB-C, but
Yeah,
that smart screen adapter
yeah.
is a game changer.
really cool.
So I watched
Yeah.
Better Man on the plane,
Yeah.
the Robbie
Oh, yeah,
Williams
yeah.
biopic, and I thought, and they went, no, I got the thing, I got the little thing, put the little thing
cool.
out, plug it into and I was listening with my JBL's
Wirelessly.
noise cancel.
Yeah, wow.
Oh,
That's brilliant.
Mate, so they're the same price, right? So I'm going for
Yeah.
$699. It's got to be a big leap in noise cancelling for me to choose the Sonys over something that has that feature that no one else has. Because
Yeah,
you've got to
true.
buy an AirFly Pro, which is
Yeah.
like a $90 product,
Yeah.
to get the same feature on a set of Sonys. So
So
I
that's
don't know.
true, and I've got to say the JBLs include all the cables you need.
Yeah.
So also include a cable if you want to listen to lossless audio, which is with a cable.
Yeah.
This only had a 3.5 to 3.5. So basically, so that it suits their own players, rather
Yeah.
than listening on a phone. Audiophile, purists would
You
that
want a
have one of those?
USB-C.
They want a player.
Yeah.
So I actually used for my review. I used the Apple cable, the USB-C to 3.5, and connected it and listened on my iPhone to Apple Music.
The one that works for the Maxes also works on this.
That's right. Yeah, it works on the AirPods Max, works on the Sony.
Nice.
And I listened to it on the Samsung, the S25 Edge. I had Apple Music on that as well. And you get lossless audio because lossless you can't get
Nice.
without a cable. So, mate, all in all, a very, very smart product and, pretty sharp, pretty decent price. But, people will just pay that because they want this quality.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
10 years ago, whenever it was that the
Yeah.
first ones came out, Bose was everywhere. On every set of head, every
yeah.
head as you walked down, especially through
in
business
the
class,
plane,
through
yeah.
a plane was Bose.
Yeah.
And then it just slowly transitioned to...
Is that strange? There's still a lot of Bose really faithful to the brand, but hasn't Sony come up? And JBL too. Like JBL and Sony are now the biggest competitors, I reckon, for Bose.
I think Sony
Yeah.
is probably number one in the market.
Yeah, I'd say so
maybe
too.
just in the planes
Yeah.
I get on.
Maybe. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, Two Blokes Talking Tech. You read Stephen's full review of the Sony WH-1000XM6s at techguide.com.au.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.
Quickly, before we go, month ago,
What's happened,
a while
mate?
ago, Kayo put up the price of their premium
What?
plan. It was
Again?
that went up to $40 for the one if you want 2 streams and 4K.
Yeah.
I can tell you that next month the standard price is going up
Wow.
from $25 to $30. Now this
And standard means still HD, not 4K, is it?
Yeah. To their credit, this is the first price rise on the entry level since they launched in 2018.
Right. Okay.
But
Okay.
it is $30. And
$30 price rise.
no, $30 a month.
Oh, I thought you meant it goes up by 30.
No, $5 price rise is still
okay,
it's a
that's
cup
not
of
bad.
coffee. But
After how many years?
I know, but people that can't afford or don't want the higher price have been stuck on 25. Look, here's what I've said all week about it. They're not going to lose any customers because if you love AFL, you love NRL,
course,
you love
mate.
Formula One, whatever it is, then you're gonna suck it up.
Yeah.
It's
Has
$5.
Kayo been around since 2018?
I think it was the end of 2018.
So that's 7 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That time flies, mate.
Mate, it really does.
That's
And
amazing.
here's what I think. I think people are going to go, what is the calculation I will make to justify that, right?
Yeah.
So it's $360 a year for the entry level, right?
Yep.
So I'm going, okay, well, there's 24 Grand Prix a year. So I'm paying $15 per Grand Prix.
Yeah.
But there's practice, 1, 2, 3, quali, and race. There's 5 sessions. I'm paying $3 a session. So this
That's
is
F1
that's what
F1
people are going to
value.
do.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
see, if you're 360
What about if you're a leaguey,
divided
mate?
by,
You're
what
a
is it,
footy
26 rounds plus finals,
Yeah.
you won't be in the finals. So it'll just be 26.
Oh, we're
so
in
it's
the 8 now,
$13 a game. You're paying $13 a game.
I like how you've already written South off just in a little comment. Thanks, mate. Yeah. We're in the 8, mate.
Are you?
Yeah.
Bottom of it or the top of it?
Bottom of the 8.
Yeah,
but
okay,
still
so
in the 8.
Yeah.
Which team are you supporting now?
I
I
don't
can't
give a
keep
rat's.
up with you, mate.
Dolphins.
You don't care? Yeah, Dolphins.
Fins
Yeah.
up, people.
Fins up,
Fins
brother.
up, baby.
Fins up. They're going to get hammered by the Bulldogs tonight.
Are they?
That's who they're playing. Anyway, hey, you never know. You never know.
Never know your luck in a big city.
So Kayo, because I've always had Foxtel, so I've never had Kayo. I've been a Foxtel guy or Foxtel app guy.
yeah, you are
Whereas
literally
you're-
an old man.
Which is
He's still using a mail client. He hung on to his OptusNet address. He's still using
Mate,
Foxtel.
Optus
You
is
are
gone,
the
mate.
epitome
Optus
of
is
an
gone,
old
mate.
man.
Optus is gone. And I blame my wife for the Optus thing because she was against it. She was thinking, no,
Under the bus.
you know, like I'm thinking, come on, let's do it. And she went, and it was her thinking, oh, it's going to be too hard. And I thought, okay, well, I should have put my foot down, mate. Should have put my foot down earlier. And but you know, respect. What's that? You're
really
putting me under a thumb
my
there.
hand. Look, I can't.
Wow.
I'm frozen.
Are you paralysed?
Mate, I'm frozen. I can't move my hand. Look at that finger. I can't move it.
It's the claw.
What the hell's happened? Oh my god.
It's the claw.
Legit. That
Seriously?
legit froze.
Did that really happen just then? Wow. You got it on film.
I did this,
Mate.
and then my hand froze.
And you reckon I'm an old man?
I couldn't move my finger.
Trevor got paralysed on live on the podcast.
That's the weirdest thing that's
Mate,
ever happened.
Can we replay that?
You know, have you ever had a cramp? Like you're lying in bed and you get a cramp and you got to jump up to kind of move it or something?
Yes, I have had that. Really,
It was like that. I was stuck.
Wow,
I
mate,
couldn't move my finger.
you need to do more hand exercises. I've got one I can
I
suggest for you.
used-
I've got one. I suggested exercise for you, mate. Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Depends what I'm doing, but mostly right-handed.
Whoa, that's TMI, mate.
Right hand, mate. I don't have a pen here to
TMI.
demonstrate it,
Yeah,
but I'm
I
right-handed.
write right-handed.
He's talking about riding, folks.
Do you kick left-handed? Right-handed? Right-footed, I should say. Kick. Because I know people who are
Can you
left-handed.
just have a think about what you just asked.
You know, do you, when you kick a footy or something, if
Okay,
you, when's
once
the last
again-
time you ever done that?
Yeah. Mate, what are you asking?
If you would kick a ball, you'd be right-footed.
If I kick a ball, I'd be like, what am I doing? And
Yeah.
who's kidnapped my body?
Okay.
Why would I be near a ball?
Okay. I'm right-footed and right-handed.
Yeah.
But I know people who are right-handed.
That's like saying which hand do
And-
you use for surgery?
Yeah.
I don't do surgery.
But I know people who are like golfers who are right-handed at everything else, but left-handed
Few switch
golfers.
hitters in the baseball.
and vice versa.
Mate,
yeah,
there's blokes that'll hit and pitch both
ambidextrous.
sides.
Are you ambidextrous?
And they introduced a rule, this is years ago,
Yep.
that you had to, once you came up to bat, you had to face all pitches in one way. So you
Really?
stand in the
So you
right hand
couldn't
batter's
just
box.
switch it up?
You can't go, that was a ball, I'm going to go the other
Oh,
side.
why not?
You have to pick.
No, they should let you go for your life.
No.
If you've got the skill to do that, that's like saying to Brad Fittler, mate, you can only step off your left leg because that's what we know.
By the way, in the private feed, we have to talk about the bloke that hopped and scored that try for the Roosters. It was
Oh,
pretty
mate,
amazing.
that was genius.
Yeah,
I was watching
even
that
I
live. Yeah,
respected
I was
that.
watching that live. Yeah, it's
All
great.
right, Two Blokes Talking Tech. Thank you to Netgear and Arlo for their great support of this show. And we hope that you're supporting them like they support us
Yes,
because it means
please.
a lot to us that you
Yep.
do that. And next time you're in the market for some Wi-Fi, get Netgear. Next time you're in the market for some home security, expand your
Arlo.
system. Get more cameras.
Hello.
Get yourself some Arlo.
Yeah.
And Stephen, we'll cruise on and we'll do it all again next week here on Two Blokes Talking Tech.
I will make the time for you.
Will you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
I will.
All right, mate. I'll put it in your diary. How about that? See ya.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.